So how does one know in their MotoGP career, when do you know when it's time to hang up the helmet?
It's a tough one and a sad one.
It is a sad one, right? Because, you know, he had this big crash. It was a big one. It was a violent one.
The one this weekend?
Yeah, the Marc Marquez crash. And we've been talking a lot this year already. Is he finished? Are we ever going to see the Marc Marquez of old? Like, that crash was harsh.
That thing spit him off fast.
I thought for sure more than his foot was broken or his big toe or whatever.
Watching the crash, the slow-mo, I was actually more worried about his knee.
Yeah, I thought
kind of like planted a foot.
I thought it was a tib fib break.
Yeah,
right?
I was pretty worried about it.
It was violent. It was and then I saw him walking. I was floored. And then they showed him like trying to get up and down the stairs.
Yeah.
And you're looking at his arms and he's got the scars all up and down his arms. And you're like looking at him and you're like,
how much longer, buddy?
Yeah, when are you satisfied? You know? And maybe that's the question. When are you satisfied?
So he's in a unique position where even like this has happened before. We've seen other racers exit the sport because of injury.
Sure. And it's the worst way for a racer to leave the sport, I think.
It's oftentimes because of sort of a catastrophic injury that, you know, you cannot really race at this level anymore. His has just been death by 1,000 paper cuts, though.
Yeah.
It's been so many little things that have just chipped away at what his body can handle. Funny enough, though, reading the reports after this crash and a little interview that he had done after the crash, is this going to sound really weird if I'm more encouraged about Marquez now?
Well, no, I think that's why we're having this discussion, right? Because I'm sitting here thinking, this is one thing I hate to be right about, but after his crash last fall, I'm like, I don't think we're ever going to see him come back from this.
Yeah.
And then all of this year, it's been, I don't think why. So if you have encouraging news, I think I am probably not the only one who would like to hear it.
Are you due for some encouraging news, Dave?
Yeah, I think we would like some good Marc Marquez
news. Let me explain what he said in the interview. And again, this is Marc Marquez, so everything's kind of with a grain of salt.
Dude's like his PR tactical acumen is pretty profound.
He's always thinking about what he's saying and how it's going to be interpreted. Like he was even joking with Bagnaia when they first got to Le Mans on Thursday or whatever day it was. Pecco comes over and says, "Oh, hey, I saw you. Did you have fun in Japan?" And basically Mark had, through flights, like somehow he wound up in Japan for a few hours, but he posted a thing about being in Japan just to kind of stir the pot and for no reason other than to just get people riled up again. And I was like, there's always some kind of game he's playing. But at any rate, after the crash, they grabbed him for a quick interview. He was, what it is in his foot is a metatarsal. So basically like the long bones in your hand, the version of that in your foot, he broke one of those. I've broken them before. It's fairly common for an impact on your foot. They can heal fairly quick. He's actually having his repaired. So it must be broken enough, or they think the repair will speed up the recovery, one or the other. But the interesting thing that he said from that was after the Barcelona round, which is coming up soon, Catalunya, after that round, he was actually planning to go in and have a minor surgery on his right shoulder again. This is the one that's had all of the issues. And it turns out that from the previous surgery that he'd done, there was like 2 screws or something that had either worked their way out or bent or broke or something inside the structure that were causing a pinch on the radial nerve. Now, the radial nerve, I had to go look this up. You've got 3 main nerve systems in your arms, and they all terminate in your hand.
Right.
But they kind of do different things. So like if you've ever gotten that like numbness in your ring and your pinky finger, kind of the backside of your hand, that's your ulnar nerve.
Right.
Right. And then your medial and your radial nerve are kind of the front 3 fingers.
But this is why we recommend covering these 2 fingers on your front brake, because your radial and ulnar nerve, the way they work, these 2 fingers are for precision. This is what allows us to be really precise. But all of our strength comes from these 2 fingers, right? Because it's attached to the nerve goes through the big muscle in your forearm. So that's why the preferred way to cover your brake is that way. Yep. So biomechanics and how we work and how it all ties together.
So anyway, they found that riding the sport bike for practice, riding the supermoto, riding the dirt tracker, all the other training stuff he does, none of those bothered the radial nerve other than the way he sits on and rides a MotoGP bike. Something about it, with the elbows or whatever it is, it just drives that nerve insane with whatever is getting pinched up here. And that's what he said. He basically felt really inconsistent, like he could never quite tell what was going to happen on the feedback, which would make sense because if your right hand, your most important fingers of the front brake on your right hand.
Front brake and throttle, right? Yeah.
Yeah. If those are even kind of fuzzy or off, you're going to have a heck of a time riding, let alone riding at that level.
Ever ridden in gloves that are not the right size and how that affects your control over the front brake?
Yep. No, a great example. Yeah. Even just getting used to new gloves sometimes
can be really frustrating, right? And you can make brake mistakes.
Yeah. So the fact that he had that and he said in the interview, yeah, this is he's like, I think this is why I'm able to go be very fast, but I cannot be very consistent right now because the nerve just seems to throw me off a little bit and I'm not getting the feedback like
I can't even imagine.
I want.
And right, like, going back to the glove analogy, right? Like I've had gloves that are too small and your hands hurt or whatever, and you're like, and I'm riding over like my favorite local canyon and I'm grumbling about it.
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm going to put you on a 300 horsepower MotoGP bike and go be competitive with the best riders in the world.
Well, and I've had issues, anecdotally, right? I've had issues where I had something like the upper arm that would, after a while, would kind of pinch my arm a little bit or get too tight. And that would cause like tingling and numbness. And I've known plenty of riders who would have their hands go numb after a certain amount of time. And there's nothing more infuriating than that. When you have all the mental faculties and the talent and the experience, and then your hands just quit or they just won't work how you need them to work. It must be so frustrating for him.
Let's throw out a little bit of riding advice in the midst of tingling hands. We had, years ago on the podcast, we had Dr. Matt Tolstoy came on. He's a motorcyclist and really great doc, awesome guy. He's going through another medical program right now, which is why we haven't seen him for a couple of years. But he talked to us about numb hands, riders who struggle with numb hands. And they say a lot of it comes down to how you're sitting and how you're breathing, that you'll pinch your shoulder blades at the base of your neck, and that'll cause numb hands. So if you change how you're sitting on your bike, you focus on like flattening out your shoulder blades.
Yep.
It can sometimes solve numb or tingly fingers.
And so if you're watching our podcast, most likely you're not a MotoGP rider. Riding motorcycles is not actually your job.
Right.
And even Dave, who riding motorcycles is his job, still spends an awful lot of time at a desk.
Way more time than I want to spend at a desk.
But all of those things, we're not going to go try to be health experts and posture experts, but the ergonomics of sitting at a desk is just about the worst thing you can do to your body. What's the joke?
That sitting at a desk slowly turns you into a shrimp, right?
Yeah, you
just kind of curl up and your hands come to the keyboard, and then pretty soon you're a shrimp. Evolution will be complete. We will return to a crustacean.
It's pretty bad. So you have to do a lot of especially if you have a desk job, you have to do a lot of very intentional exercises to try to help your shoulders get back to where they should be and get your neck and head, vertical where it should be. All of those things help you everywhere in life, but for us, we care about how it is on the bike.
Right, and think about like
make a difference.
How you sit on a motorcycle versus how you sit on a desk. Your arms are forward all the time, right? We're kind of like in this kind of, and you could get all sorts of muscle weakness and
imbalances.
Over time, you're not as symmetrical from front to rear and things like that just by always being in the same situation. You and I struggle with it additionally because we ride bicycles.
Yeah.
Right. So a lot of our physical activity, our exercise is in the same kind of arm forward seating position.
Yeah. You really do have to, as you age especially, have to really think about what can I do to help improve my posture and get my shoulders back and my back straight again.
You've done a lot of research on this yourself because it's something you're interested in.
Yeah.
You were talking to me about the 7 horsemen of the apocalypse of aging, right? I think is what you were talking to me about. Like there's 3 things that I can't remember.
Lifestyle wise, sort of avoid a couple of clear pitfalls. You are still going to die from something, but you're probably going to have a pretty decent life as you go, and you're going to die much later than you would otherwise, right? But we can, maybe we'll dive down
Just
that
cover
rabbit
them really
hole
briefly. Just hit them really briefly.
Well, I'd have to go reread a little bit to remember all of them. But most of it, this is around like, it's the basic stuff, right? It's don't smoke cigarettes if you can avoid it. Don't drink excessively or have other, toxins basically in your body.
We have a beer.
Yeah, we're not the best bastions of that one, I would say, but within reason. Avoid things like high blood pressure and, cardiovascular things like this. All of those things catch up with you over time.
The one thing that you mentioned to me, and this is, I guess, the question I was really trying to ask is you were saying that, like 3 things kind of get you in the end. And one of them was falls.
Oh yeah.
Right. And it's hand strength.
Yep.
And it's like you slipped and you just didn't have, you did the strength to hold yourself up and catch yourself on the way down. And, I was thinking about that with relationship to motorcycles and sitting at a desk all the time.
Yeah.
Hand strength goes away pretty quickly,
Very much so. Yeah. The people who don't do physical labor for jobs, and in reality, as you get older, it's harder and harder to do a physical labor job long term, right? Like at some point your body is just worn out and it's hard to do it. But if you're fortunate enough to not need to do physical labor for work, then you really do need to focus on doing some kind of physical effort outside of work because your body is either getting stronger, it's getting weaker. Your mind is getting stronger, it's getting weaker at all times. None of this stuff stays put, right? It's not like, oh, yep, check the box, I'm fit now.
That's right. Right? Yeah. Right.
It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
So you have to constantly be working on these things, and they're muscles. You have to strengthen them. But the grip one's an obvious one. The ability to pick things up off the ground is a really obvious one.
Pick things up off the ground was
yeah, because if you think about we'll get back to bikes soon, so just stick with us if this isn't your jam. But yeah, the ability for a human body to literally pick up something heavy up off the ground and stand up with it, it's really important. Think about it. It's like almost every muscle in your body has to get involved when you do this. Your core, your legs, your glutes, your back, your arm, everything's involved. So like a deadlift, if you think about that.
Sure.
When they do those measurements on athletes of like muscle engagement and stuff, a heavy deadlift, it's pretty hard to beat, right? I mean, there's risk involved with back injuries if you're not careful, but it's everything. Every part of you is having to work for it. So I have a herniated disc in my lower back from when I was in the military.
Yeah, I have a back injury from my military. I was going to tell a story about that too.
Yeah. So I have a herniated disc, and this happened, and I was 21, something like that. I was very young.
I think I was 22 or 23 when mine happened.
Yeah, I was very young. And the doctors, and I get sciatic nerve pain.
Yeah.
So I basically like right above on the back side of, like right above my butt, basically, I'll get suddenly like this sharp pain and a shooting pain all the way down my leg. And it feels like pins and needles, but it's like 10x. It's painful, and you basically kind of lays you out. And for the longest time, I thought, oh, well, I just can't do back exercises. I have to baby this thing because any kind of thing would flare it up. And like twice a year, I'd have like
crawl to the bathroom level event.
Like, yeah, I'm flat on the ground type stuff. I can't move hardly. And it was excruciatingly painful for about a week. It happened twice a year. And I'm in my 20s when this is happening. I started more proactively working out and lifting weights intelligently. I'm not a world competitor with this stuff, so I'm just trying to be progressively stronger and stronger. I now have zero back pain, basically, right? I mean, I still have to be mindful of certain things, but in general, I don't worry, because things that would set it off in the past would be like, I'd step up some stairs wrong.
Dude, I threw mine out once brushing my teeth.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not kidding. I was brushing my teeth and I was like...
Yeah, it would be nothing that would do it. But as you kind of build strength and like strengthen your spine and your back, everything's just more stable in general. And so I don't think that the injury's gone. I think I could absolutely trigger it if I'm not careful, but there's enough stability around it that I think it's much, much harder for my body to not kind of protect itself, I guess.
Sure. Yeah, I'm going through physical therapy right now because I did injure myself this winter. Not seriously, but like enough to, And so I went to therapy this week, and she had me lay on my back with my knees bent and put my hips off the ground and then rotate my hips one side up and the other side up without involving any other muscles. And my left side of my hip is very strong and fine. The right side of my hip, because of this injury, is incredibly weak, that I couldn't even get the left side of my hip up level with my right side of my hip up level with my left side of my hip. And it was like, I had no idea that I had this weakness there. So I've been working on it, and it is crazy. Like, I was on the bike all day yesterday, riding at a very good clip, how much better I felt getting that physical balance of strength back in. Just the simplest little exercise. I lay on my side and put my hips up, and I lay on my back and I do these little hip rotation things. And holy cow, like the silliest little things can make a big difference. Yeah.
It's, I mean, a bit of a tangent, but I think it's worth talking about. And if you guys are interested, we can absolutely.
We could find someone.
Well, and
I'll bet you my physical therapist would come on. She's amazing.
And I'm happy. Like, I really am into this stuff. I enjoy it a lot. I don't mind going down the rabbit hole, but I also don't want to bore you to death if it's not your thing. So,
all right. So before we move on, let's talk about what's sitting behind you right now.
Yeah, what is sitting behind me, Dave?
What is sitting behind me? If you have been paying attention to this podcast, I am finally able to, with much joy and excitement, announce the bike that we're giving away. And I'm so excited about this bike. This thing is better than I thought it was going to be. This is a Triumph Trident 660, and it has some very tasteful upgrades on it. I've already done some more upgrades on it. This is already in a headed state of the announcement video that's also probably dropping today or yesterday about this. But we have partnered with an organization called Fan of Them. It's a veteran-owned business that helps us do giveaways like this. So they handle all the giveaways, they handle all the entries, they handle the whole process with all the legal things. I have no say whatsoever in who wins the bike. But there's going to be a whole bunch of videos coming out on this. There's already at least one available now. And if you're interested in learning more about winning this amazing motorcycle, we can talk more about the bike in here in a second. But if you go to fanofthem.com, like I'm a fan of them, fanofthem.com,
got it.
/Canyon Chasers, you can enter to win. You have to be in the United States, things like that. The bike will be shipped to you if you win. And what's really cool about how Fan of Them does it is your odds of winning are extraordinarily good. We don't advertise this across a big scale. So while the entries do cost, like you buy like a coffee cup or a digital download, it's a little bit more, but it means your odds are exponentially higher on winning on the bike.
There's at least one, but there's probably a couple groups that do this with cars, but they don't do this with normal cars. They do this with like GT3 RSs and Lamborghinis and all this stuff. And those ones, I remember years ago, somebody had done an article about them. Your odds of winning that car were, you are more likely to be abducted by aliens while you're the president of the United States. Like, I mean, it was impossible to actually win those things. But that's the difference with this group is it's on a totally different scale than that. Right.
So like if you watch Spite's Corner, Jake is a good friend of mine. I really love that guy. He's who put me in touch with them. I think he said for the last bike that he gave away, there were 147 entries. So that's a 1 in 147 chance.
Yeah, much more real.
Winning. Now, it all depends on how many people enter and whatever. And part of what these guys like to do is we like to start with more affordable things to see how it goes, you know.
Right. Does your audience like this type of thing?
Do you like this kind of thing?
Yeah.
And I think let's talk about this motorcycle for a second, right? I was so excited to find this thing. It is way cooler than I thought it was going to be. Mrs. Canyon Chaser just adores the thing. This is such a fun motorcycle to ride. I hadn't really paid attention to the Trident. Like, I knew it was there. I thought it was just like a whatever bike. This thing rocks. This thing is so much freaking fun to ride.
Tell me about this engine, because I am not a Triumph guy. Ironically enough, my dad's a very big Triumph guy.
Right. Your dad had like a Sprint RS or something like that?
He had a Street
Triple.
Triple, and then he also has a Trophy.
Yeah.
So he's very much into Triumphs. They don't do it for me typically.
Really?
No, it's not my thing.
Oh my gosh.
But I do like this. I do like the 675 engine. This
is a 660. It's a little bit different.
Yeah. So what did they just sleeve down a 675?
I'm not exactly sure what's different. I think it's a little torquier.
Okay.
In the late 60s, Triumph only made like Bonnevilles and Trophies and the little parallel twins, right? And they were having all these problems because the Japanese were coming in with all of their motorcycles, and the the British just couldn't keep up.
Right.
And so they're like, well, we're going to make a triple. Maybe that'll make us more competitive, right? So the Trident, ironically, dropped at about the exact same time as the CB750 hit market. And the CB750 was, of course, world-changing. It was the first big four-cylinder. But even though the Honda had like disc brakes and electric start, and the shifter was on the correct side, all these things, the Trident was still a faster motorcycle, and it went on to win the Isle of Man, I think, like 5 times in a row.
Oh.
And so there's always been this rivalry between where there was then.
Yeah.
But it's just funny enough. We bought this for the giveaway bike. Honda sent me a CB650, so we're gonna do a comparison between the Trident 660 and the CB650. It's 60 years later. What are they still going neck to neck, head to head on what they are?
And a brand new Trident costs what, 10?
Yeah, they're under 10. I think it's like $9,000 or something.
And what's a brand new CB650?
It's like the same price.
Oh, okay, so these are competitors.
Yeah, they're very
okay,
competitive.
okay.
They're like close to the same power. They're close to the same weight.
Oh, interesting.
There's a few minor differences in them. Yeah, well, the comparison video will go down into the nuances of what I think one does better or the other. But what really impresses me about this thing is the motor is so much fun.
Huh.
I am surprised that you don't get along with triples, because this thing, I've been having such a gas. I think we've ridden it 3 or 4 times now, making content with it. Oh my gosh, it is just a joy to ride. It has torque, it spins up, it's a cool little bike.
I think my favorite thing about the triples typically is how they sound.
And this one has an exhaust system on it.
That whatever Zard or
Has
whatever.
a Zard on it.
Yeah.
It sounds so good.
Sounds great.
And
Yeah.
it has, what this floors me, this thing has one of the best quick shifters of almost any bike I have ridden.
Really?
It has, the quick shifter is so freaking good.
Huh.
And even though this thing's built to a price point, it has fly-by-wire throttle. So the fueling is also like perfect. Like as you're on I can't believe this bike for the price point, what it's capable of.
Well, and now, I mean, it's got wheel speed sensors, so it's got ABS, it's got, that's the funny thing about all of the fancy sci-fi electronics. Those are the things that just get cheaper over time.
Right.
And they just, now the generation, if you go buy a brand new bike, the budget, IMU enabled ABS, blah, blah, blah. It's better than what we had 5 years ago on the top level models.
Yeah.
The
funny thing is, all the bikes that come through, I have to insure them, right? That's part of the deal. Like even the Honda bikes that are sitting here, I have to insure them. And Mrs. Canyon Chaser, she always calls me. She takes care of it. And she goes, "Does this bike have ABS?" And I was like, "Baby,
they all."
Yeah, you're gonna be hard pressed to find a bike without ABS these days. So like when you do the little thing, it has ABS. Even the Honda DAX that we had come through here last year.
Yeah.
Had ABS.
It's to the point where it's like cars. You can't even sell a car without ABS.
Yeah, and like who would buy it? Like you'd have to go out of your way to find something without ABS. It surprises me though. We do get comments on the other channel about people who the first thing they do is they try to disable all of the the ABS and the traction control for their street ride though, not for track riding.
Well, okay, that's fair, I guess. Because on the track I turn it off, but I don't run on the street.
We've talked about that, why you would on the track.
Yeah.
But like for a street bike, like
just leave it alone. Yeah, it's probably fine. Yeah,
it's totally fine.
Yeah, I think it's a great looking little bike. It is much. If you are a shorter rider, this is a much more feasible bike.
Oh my gosh, it's so easy.
It's a low seat.
Yeah, it's narrow at the front, so it's really easy to get and it's a comfortable seat.
Yeah,
it has, like I said, it has a bunch of really tasteful upgrades on it, including it has like a quilted seat on it, like it says a fender eliminator. Yeah, it's a cool bike.
Anyway, that's the giveaway bike. I'm excited about it.
I am really excited. Part of me is a little sad because I like it so much. I wish I could win it.
Yeah.
But I'm really excited to give it away. Yeah, and and part of what Fan of Them allows me to do, and what I have been doing to it, is I've been making a few upgrades of my own, and anything that's not quite right on it, I'm fixing it. So you're
going to get a pretty dialed in.
Yeah,
bike.
you're going to get something that's totally dialed in, right? Yeah, we're going to do some maintenance to it to make sure it's totally prepped, and So yeah, the thing kicks ass.
I like it.
Yeah. So fanofthem.com/canchasers. If you want to learn more, make sure you go to the main channel, watch the announcement video of it. It's just like a nice, big, thorough review.
Well, we'll put the link in the description of this video.
It'll definitely be in the description.
Yeah.
So, but if you're listening online, if you're listening in your car, you can find it still.
And buy a mug. Enter the win.
Yeah, I think there's keychain, mugs, digital downloads. Yeah. I mean, not to get too sidetracked, but talking to the Fan of Them company, he said they have people that are just fan of them. They don't even really look at the YouTube channels. They really like working. They've had such positive experiences with Fan of Them that they just go through their website and they look at what other channels are giving away and they enter in all of those.
I like that shirt. I like that. Yeah.
They don't do t-shirts, but they said t-shirts were hard because like the sizing and this one had a flaw or whatever. Yeah. But they say most people just do the digital downloads. That they don't even do the mugs and the keychains. They do the digital downloads. Huh. I don't even know what the digital downloads are. I haven't seen them.
It's just another picture of Dave's face.
It might be me. It might be a portrait of me with me looking this way and then me ghosted in the background.
One of those AI photos and put you on like a bust. Of
there we go. Yeah, or a park bench.
Yeah.
You know, like with a.
So you were riding yesterday.
Yes, we had a really great day yesterday. It was in partnership with you, with the Utah Superbike Club. We do how many of these do we do a year?
So right now we are slated to do 2 this year. We had the first one got canceled, unfortunately, because the weather was abysmal. So thankfully we were able to get out of that one. And we're looking at putting up another date on the calendar. It's not official yet, so I don't want to say a date yet.
You don't want to say a date yet?
But there's another one coming later this year. Yeah.
This is something I'm really excited about. Like last week we talked about the Apex Plus. This is part of our commitment to try to make the sport better. We do an advanced rider training program that is also in partnership with Yamaha Champ School. They approved the curriculum. They go through, and the first half of the day is a handful of like parking lot drills and explanation and demonstrations and stuff like that. And the second half of the day is actual full-on racetrack level coaching.
Yep.
And we had a great day yesterday. I bet you, I'd say 40% of our students were women, which I thought was just incredible. Yeah. And they killed it. They were great. It was like so much excitement. It was awesome.
I do want to throw out, this is also in partnership with Utah Motorsport Campus.
So the racetrack,
the racetrack very much partners with us on this activity. It's very much geared towards street riders. This is really not built for someone who wants to go be the next racer.
Because Utah Superbike does have new racer programs that are geared for you. This is more for...
I mean, if you have a sport bike and you're on the street, that's great. This is perfect for you.
We had a
really
dude
for
on
street
a
riding.
VTX 1800 who was taking it yesterday.
I have to tell you a funny story about him.
I have a funny story about him too. You tell your funny story about
hopefully
him.
He's watching.
I hope so.
All right. So I was standing outside the garage when you guys were first doing your first drill section, or you're riding over to go do it. And I'm standing there talking to Mike, and there's a kid on an RS 660 in Aprilia. And he's backing out of the garage. And as he's backing out, the VTX fires up. And I can hear the thump, 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 thump. But my brain, all I can see is this Aprilia, this kid on a 660. And I'm like, oh no, that thing is so broken. He doesn't even know.
That's hilarious.
Anyway, then the VTX showed up. I was like, never mind.
But yeah. So he rolled in, right? The VTX rolled in. And he pulls in, and it's like custom painted with flames, and it's obviously
skulls, and it was cool.
I think the guy bought it new, like in 2001 or 2002, when the VTX 1800 came out. Which, by the way, if you're not familiar with that bike, even if you're not a cruiser person, that bike is cool. It uses basically the same bore and stroke as a P51 Mustang, only there's only 2 of them. So each piston is about the size.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, the thing is freaking cool.
Okay.
It is like, I don't even understand the physics of it. How does that piston stop and change direction and come back down? Why does that piston just, like each piston is roughly the size of a Folgers coffee can. Like that thing is, it's such a cool motorcycle.
Really stout connecting rods.
And it's fun to ride.
Pins, yeah.
I've always liked this bike. Anyway, he rolls in, and you can tell like this guy loves this bike, right? Like, and I was like, you're gonna drag those floorboards today. And he's like, no, I will not. I'm here to be safe. I'm going to be careful. I will not drag my floorboards today. And I was like, oh no, you're going to be dragging those floorboards today, right? And I kind of kept teasing him throughout the day with it. And then like halfway through our track sessions, I'm standing out on track, and we catch people in drills. We do on-track drills. And we stop. And he rolls up to me, and I'm like, have you been dragging your floorboards? And he's like, so much. And he goes, I had no idea. I'm being safe. And I was like, okay, so let's now work on posture a little bit and do this. And on a cruiser, it makes even more sense, or it's even more important to reduce lean on a cruiser. And he came, I talked to him like a couple sessions later. The guy, he has like a big white beard and kind of
I saw him.
and he, I don't think he had ever had so much fun on a motorcycle. He goes, that was the most amazing thing I have ever done. And he had really killer posture.
Oh, that's
he's
awesome.
like way off the bike. And he goes, I just learned I got to like take weight off my inside foot peg to allow the floorboard to flex up as it starts to drag. And I'm like, to go from, I'm not dragging a floorboard, I'm here to be safe, to like, well, if I pick up my foot and I move my head over. So yeah, that was one of the highlights of the day.
That's awesome. He'll come out for the next one. He'll have like bolted on little like steel sliders on the outside.
No, they come with steel sliders. Like,
oh, do they?
Yeah, they totally do. They're just like, they know they're gonna like touch. They're like,
a little, yeah,
all hero striped the bottoms of his. We also had a woman who came out, and like she was really, she like she kind of made me chuckle. She was so smooth. She was just unbelievably smooth everywhere, right? And I was watching her, and like she was like kind of not really getting on it very much. And I was like, well, what's going on? And Mike noticed. And so Mike's like, hey, come talk to me. And I didn't know what he talked to her about. And then she did another lap. She came to my little station. I was like, well, what did Mike talk to you about? And she goes, well, I was only revving my engine to 3,000 RPM, so I'm allowed to rev it a little higher. And it's like it was a Ninja 500.
Oh,
no,
yeah.
600 is Ninja 600? 650. 650, sorry. And she goes, oh, it's so much more fun now. But she had like... She was wearing like the $1,500 Alpine Stars carbon fiber SR10, like all this top gear, bought a brand new motorcycle, bought the best helmet money can buy, and was out there doing the school. And by the end of the day, she was flying. She had like just really took to it. It was pretty cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's a cool program. So just to reiterate this a little bit, so Utah Superbike is a non-profit organization. We run the race.
Non or not for? Isn't there like a distinction there?
There is a distinction to it, but basically it functions as a non-profit.
Yeah, you're not there to make money.
We're not a charity per se, but no one's making money off this thing. But we run the race series out here in Utah. So we run the Superbike series, we run the Supermoto and the Mini Moto series for the small bikes and kids. And then we run these advanced rider training programs. And the advanced rider training is very much, it's like the Venn diagram of us and all of the other sort of like Utah, like a DOT and all the highway safety and all those groups kind of overlap is in this vein, is how do we keep people on the streets safer, right? And the angle that every other organization has to take is how do we convince people to just go slower on the street? Because that's the only lever they can pull. Right?
I get really tired of that comment on the big channel to like, we'll just go slower. And you're like, well, just be careful. You don't need a fire extinguisher as long as you're careful.
Right. You're right.
Know, like,
and that's the hard thing is like in most, if you ever look at like billboard campaigns and stuff about this, it's slow down, or take an MSF class.
Well, and that turns into like blaming the rider for the mistake, right? Yep. Not blaming a lack of education or a lack of knowledge.
Whereas what's unique about what we can offer is, hey, if you want to ride fast, you can, but do it over here.
Right.
That's the message.
Yes.
Right? Do you want to do track days? We can cover that. Do you want to do racing? We can cover that. Do you want to go get a school? We can cover that. Like the whole idea is, hey, you're a 24-year-old that just bought your first R9. You bought it for a reason.
You want to go fast on the thing, right?
I'm not going to make you feel bad about that, right? But go do it in the right spot. That's the whole message. So anyway, it's cool that we get to do it. Yamaha Champ School partners with us for the curriculum and the instructor instructing basically. And the track chips in a ton with this. So we are able to offer that advanced rider training program for very, very cheap.
What is the price? I didn't even know.
It's like $300.
Oh my gosh, are you serious?
It's a full day.
Yeah,
it's a full day.
Yeah, for $300. That's incredible.
You're not going to find I would argue in the comments.
If you were to do a track day that's the full perimeter track, it's more than that.
Yeah. If you can find a full day instruction for cheaper than that, put it in the comments.
And
I'd
it's
love
all
to hear
volunteer
about
based. It's all volunteer, but we really believe in what we're doing, right? And a lot of the students who come through, they are typically people who have graduated MSF or a basic rider program, not necessarily MSF, but there's a couple of them out there. And they don't quite feel ready, or they don't feel like track days are their thing.
Yeah.
But they still want something more.
Yep.
So we get a lot of people in between. And incidentally, we get a ton of dudes on adventure bikes,
Yeah.
like older gentlemen in their 50s and 60s who are like, man, I'm not as sharp as I used to be. Now I have this. I sold my cruiser. I bought an adventure bike, and I'm struggling.
Yeah.
And so we get it's so cool to see all these guys out there. Like we had a Triumph Tiger Adventure out there yesterday. We've had GS 1300s, like big adventure bikes, and it's so cool to see them like, oh, this all applies to all kinds of motorcycles at the speeds you're probably like the track sessions are not free for alls, right?
No, it's not a track day.
But it is closer to the speeds you're actually riding. You know, it is more real world speed. It is not second gear parking lot cone drills. It's how you actually ride a motorcycle.
And there's a goal. You never go on track without a purpose at this event, right?
Or an instructor.
Yeah, and there's instructors, and there's instructors set up at specific corners, and they're working on certain aspects or concepts that you're trying to work on as a student. So it's a full-on school.
Right.
It's not like a kind of a school. It's a full-on school.
Right, like there'll be instructors out there standing in the track, like in the heat with a boonie hat and a leather romper on to catch you and help you improve your riding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
we should also mention what also Utah Sport Bike does a handful of times a year, and I'm really excited to be a part of this, but this goes back into the education and how much we try to get back to the community, is we have a deal with Utah Highway Patrol. We bring the Utah Highway Patrol Motor Police out, and we help them.
It is one of the funnest events that we get to do every year. And it's not just the Utah Highway Patrol. It's some certain police departments also participate.
Right.
So if you are part of a police department or you're interested, let us know. We're happy to work with you.
And it is so cool to teach those, right? Because a lot of, honestly, police officers, like what they're able to do between cones is, for me, it's unimaginable. I can't do it. Yep. I see them do it. I'm completely impressed. But when you look at the data of police motor officers, they do have a high level of accidents and injuries and even fatalities during pursuits and escorts, like police escorts, where they have to go.
Escorts is the worst one.
Where they have to go really fast and they have to stop really quickly. They have to go really fast and stop really quickly. It's, from what I understand, it's less with pursuits anymore, because most police departments now are like, we're not going to do high-speed pursuits because the risk to the public safety and our officers is just too high. But anyway, a lot of these officers come in with a lot of the riding technique concepts from not kidding from the 70s.
Yep.
Right? And so they come in like, here's a bunch of what to them we look like the enemy, right? Like with our chamfered knee pucks and leathers and our racy bikes, and we start giving them instruction. And typically like the first couple sessions, they're a little, I don't know about you guys, kind of a thing. And by the end, they're like, I had no idea I could go this quick with such precision and such control, and I never once got scared.
Yep.
And it's so cool to see. And some of the motor officers, because a lot of motor officers, they only come through, like they're only a motor officer to get promotion points. They come back as like, I'm going to go buy a bike. This is the most fun I've ever had in my whole life. I'm going to go home and buy a motorcycle for myself.
I think that was one of the most fascinating things that I learned when we started doing this. And we've been doing this for a lot of years now.
Yeah.
Was most of the motor officers, they are not motorcycle people inherently.
No, they don't care.
Right? They don't have a family of bikes. Like they don't come into bikes. They're like, oh, I'm a police officer. I'm working kind of through the ranks. This is sort of like a tour almost you have to do in order to kind of...
It's promotion points.
Yeah.
And a lot of them see motorcycles as like, why would I do that? Because they see the bad stuff.
Yeah.
Right? They see the consequences every day. And so like, why would I do this?
Yeah.
And then they come see how to do it more appropriately and correctly, and like, there's nothing in the world scary about this.
Well, and it's so but the point that you made about suddenly they go, oh wait, these are kind of fun.
Yeah,
like that's such a cool, because at first they come to it like, oh God, I have to do this really dangerous thing.
Yeah,
and I have to get good at these weird cone drills and all this stuff. And then when you can kind of give them a chance to experience it in, hey, this is fun too. Like, there's a proficiency, there's a skill, there's a thing to learn. Like when you can open that up to them and they're like, hold on a second, maybe I'm actually into bikes.
Right. Well, and they're fun to teach because they've spent a lifetime managing risk and understanding risk and a lot of these concepts. So when you sit down and you start talking to them about like risk management, we do this to minimize risk, and we do this so we can, maximize speed with the minimum amount of risk. They key in on those things really fast. Like prioritizing the exit and like save your speed for when you have visibility kind of things. And they're like, oh, wow, that's way easier.
Yep.
You're like, yeah, it's way easier than trying to go fast when you can't see,
Well, and it's a good point, because when you're coaching that, the mentality is very different. It's they're not bothered with the stress.
Yeah.
They're not bothered with the like dealing with multiple kind of hectic, dangerous things at once. That doesn't phase them really. It's more a matter of like the skill itself and understanding what is happening. It's a very different dynamic than teaching most riders are just kind of overwhelmed by all of the things that are happening. They're almost unfazed by it.
Teaching a lot on track, you typically have two, like the ART the ART that we did yesterday. You have people who are timid and they're here to gain confidence. Yep. And so a lot of your coaching is trying to like, no, like speed is good here. Speed creates stability. You need some speed so you can trying to build that confidence. Or you have typically younger males who don't understand risk management. And you're like, no, this is not the place to go fast. This is not the place to go fast. Right. With a lot of the police officers, what we're trying to tell them is like, dude, you are not wearing the appropriate gear for how fast you are willing to go. Like a lot of them show up in just like their little t-shirts and their little sleeves, their flip face helmets and little driving gloves with holes over the knuckles, and horse riding boots. And you're like, dude, I'd be nervous riding to the coffee shop in that kit, and they're like just sending it. And you're like, okay, whoa, you need to think of yourself as wearing pajamas because that's what I see you as wearing. And they're like, huh, never like, but it gets hot when I'm writing tickets. I'm like, fair point, but
sweat a little, bud.
Right. Like
drink a water bottle.
They have mesh gear now, like they have all this new technology. So it's just really funny to kind of like, I always like to, I'm sure if you've been pulled over by a police officer, you've probably had an officer say to you, I'm tired of scraping you guys off the highway, right? So every time I teach one of these, and the guy's wearing like the little t-shirt, the little short sleeve thing and his little horse riding boots. So I'm like, dude, I don't want to scrape you off the racetrack with that kind of gear. And I'm always afraid that they're going to take it wrong. They all laugh. They all think it's hilarious when I do that.
And the best part is when you coach these guys, they give you this little yellow card, and it's a get out of jail free card.
Right.
We
I
all
always keep
have
it in my wallet. No, I'm just kidding. We do not. But I have been pulled over by one, and I not for like speeding or anything like that. I just kind of like was in a situation. I got like in a thing, and he pulls me over, and he's like, and I was like, hey, I taught you how to ride a motorcycle, and he's like, You did.
You're that guy, yeah.
Oh, hey, how's it going? Dude, I was doing that thing you said. And like we had this really great little conversation. So yeah.
Oh, that's fun. So anyway, we have got one more coming up later this year. We do them every year, though. We'll do a couple of them. It's also kind of by demand. If we get the impression that and we had a good turnout the first one. We had 30 students, I think.
Is that how many were out there?
It was 28 or 30, something like that.
That's awesome.
Which is great. If we keep having demand like that, the track is willing to keep doing dates for this, so we can keep doing it.
One of the coolest programs. We used to do one, and maybe we should talk about this, or I'm giving away we used to do one that was very specific to sport touring. We called it the Sport Touring ART.
Yep.
And we only did it for a couple years, and then I think COVID happened, or like something kind of killed it before it really got off the ground. But we had people when that was still going on they made it part of their summer vacation. They're like, oh, we had a dude, Florida, Ohio, New Jersey. Mm-hmm. We had people from all over the country like, well, I'm going to stop in Utah and do the sport touring art in the middle of my vacation. So I don't know if that's something that maybe is of interest to you guys. You could let us know. We have the president of Utah Superbike right here. We could see if maybe there's demand to maybe rekindle that idea.
I love the idea of that. It's funny you bring that up, traveling like that. I was in Eurosport this past week, actually. I had to bring the 660 down to just do like a code read.
Oh, right.
There's a little error I couldn't figure out. Anyway, while I'm sitting in the little service area, older guy comes in, and he's in is it Aero Stitch? Is that the one piece?
They still make Aero Stitches?
Well, but it's
the one piece like nylon thing?
He's in the one piece. I don't know if it's Aero Stitch.
Probably Aero Stitch. That's the only one that I know of that does that.
So he comes in, and he's, of course, on a BMW GS, whatever. And he just needs new tires. So he's just stopping in, and he's on his way. Well, as he's chatting, and I've never met a long distance touring guy who is not chatty. They're all chatty.
They have been on that motorcycle with their own thoughts for 3 days. Yeah. You're the first person.
I'm just happy they still speak words. So
they're happy they still know words to speak.
But he was coming from, I want to say North or South Carolina.
Oh, wow.
On his way across, getting tires in Utah, and he's on his way to Alaska.
How cool is that?
Well, and he's on his, it was the non-adventure, I think, but he still had the 3 luggage pieces, whatever the panniers.
The adventure basically has a bigger gas tank and taller suspension. So the adventure has like don't quote me if I'm wrong, but I think it has a 35-gallon gas tank on the adventure. It's like most people that I know who own an adventure never even fill it up.
I'm going to tell you you're wrong.
Because it weighs so much with the full tank that they only fill them up halfway.
Oh, okay.
So like if I were to buy one, I would buy the non-adventure. But basically that's how you tell the difference. They look really wide because they have about, I think it's like 9 gallons. It's an enormous gas tank on the adventure.
35. My van doesn't have a 35.
I was just like,
anyway,
no, I swear it's 35 gallons. So I promise.
He's got the aluminum panniers, and then he's got the tent and all this stuff like on the passengers. He is on his own on a mission, right? Crossing the country. And it was so cool to be in there. So our Eurosport now does Aprilias, right? That's why I'm there. So they do Aprilia. But I thought that just this dichotomy of me in there with a full-on race bike getting a code red, and this dude who's coming in with his Aero Stitch, and he's
going to ride literally halfway around the world.
Yeah, and it's like we're to anybody outside of this little room, we're the same person. Oh, they're a motorcyclist. Right?
Yeah.
We couldn't be at further ends of the scale.
But yet at the same time, you probably had a lovely
we chatted. It was great. Yeah. Super nice guy. Of course they are. They're always friendly.
Well, and motorcycles are so cool that way, right? Like even the cruiser dude, right? What I think about the cruiser dude who did the RT, the courage it took to be like, I'm going to take my custom painted flame job, long P51 piston cruiser, and I'm going to hang out with a bunch of Power Rangers in leather onesies. Like that takes courage to do that. And yet as soon as he showed up, we're like, dude, that thing's cool. Tell me about that thing. We were all excited about his motorcycle because it was different than what we normally see.
Yeah.
Right?
Speaking of the Power Rangers, I laughed. My daughter was watching Paw Patrol today.
Yeah.
And they get suited up in whatever they're in. It's the dogs or whatever. And I looked at one of them and I was like, I swear to you, that's what that's modeled after. I swear to you.
They're wearing the speed onesie. There we go.
All right. So next thing to talk about here. I want to hear about your leaving on Tuesday, I think.
I'm leaving I'm going to be gone all next week. Hopefully I'll be back in time for our next podcast with some exciting new news. This is I'm not going to lie, this is a little bit of a dream gig that I just got. Mm-hmm. I'm heading to Spain, and I am going to be testing the brand new, barely released, I didn't even think this thing was real, Norton Manx. Norton is back. Mm-hmm. Norton is trying to come back to America, and they just brought back the Norton Manx with a V4 motor. And so I'm heading to Spain. I'm going to spend some time on a racetrack. I'm going to spend some time on some public roads in Spain riding. I'm so excited that Norton's back. So yeah, that's where I'm going to be next week.
So where in Spain do you go?
It's Seville. I'm
Someone tell
say
us
it every way I know how to say it. So one of them will be correct. If you watched MotoGP last week in Jerez.
No, you can't say Jerez. I was told.
We were told that the TH thing comes from inbreeding from a king from some
Now Spain hates us.
I know.
Dave.
It was a fascinating little history lesson that we got. It was really cool that we can't say Jerez. It's basically about 50 miles north of Jerez. Okay. There's this awesome little racetrack in this town of Seville. 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 I don't know. Seville.
Okay.
Seville.
I like it.
Whatever. So that's where I'll be.
What do you know about this bike so far?
It's not cheap. It's
not cheap.
I don't want to get the number wrong. It's not. It's right up there with the Panigale V4S kind of price point.
Well, the S is only
or the R. Maybe it's the R.
Okay, the R is 50.
Yeah, we're in that ballpark.
Okay,
I think we're in that ballpark. I mean, it comes with carbon fiber wheels, brand new V4 motor, over 200 horsepower. unbelievably pretty motorcycle. It's very different than a lot of it's like going to go test like a supercar, right? Like this is rare, it's exclusive, it's very special. But one thing I really like about it is the styling on it's much simpler, right? Like a lot of the bikes that we're seeing now coming like from CF Moto and even Ducati to a certain extent, there's kind of a lot going on. We have
a lot of edges and creases and
flutes and ducks and screens and mesh and this thing, like the only one I've seen is it's silver, it's elegant, it kind of has this like Art Deco 1930s kind of aspired aesthetic to it.
The one photo I think you showed me of it was it has a kind of Aston Martin style to it.
Definitely. That's well said. Yeah.
It's very purposeful, but all of the features are very decided. Like, and maybe that's a weird way to say it.
I think that's a great word actually.
But it's hey, this line is going to go from nose to tail on purpose. This grill is going to look this way. The headlight's going to look this way. Like all of these things are it is not designed by committee. Right?
Yeah, I think it was designed by...
It's designed by an artist.
And one of the features about it that I think is just stunning is the taillight configuration on it. It's like nothing I've ever seen before. Like tap it into your search engine and look up the brand new Norton Manx. It has this crazy cool how the taillight is integrated into the tail section. I think the thing is stunning. I mean, it comes out of the box with carbon fiber wheels, single-sided swing arm, V4.
So are they building the engine themselves, or is it somebody else's engine?
So Norton has been playing with motorcycles, and I think they basically had, I think some of the first prototypes had an Aprilia motor in it, and then they had, this is their own motor now.
Oh, okay, so they make their own engine.
Thing.
Interesting,
Yeah.
Okay. I think this will be interesting because your typical bike review video is, one, it's supposed to be entertaining. That's always number one for making any kind of content. But two, it's really kind of consumer buyer information to some extent, right?
Right.
This is not that.
This is, maybe
Right,
I'm sure
there are some buyers for this, for sure.
But I'm sure in our audience we have people who could afford this
But this, I guess what I'm getting at is like, this isn't sold in the thousands.
Yeah, this is not going to be a mass purchase motorcycle, right? I think the parent company is TVS, if I'm remembering correctly, and which is a very big reputable company. But I want to try to approach this as not many of you are likely to be able to ever go ride a Norton Manx, right? Like it's going to be rare and it's going to be exclusive. And my approach going into this is I want to be really respectful of that, and I'm going to try my best to try to share what is it like to go ride a very rare, very exclusive, super ultra high end thing, right? Like if we think I'm not Top Gear, and I'm not trying to be Top Gear, but like Jeremy Clarkson would go ride drive the whatever Lamborghini Gallardo SVS,
a poster car,
whatever, a car that you would put on the wall of your bedroom as a kid, right? I would watch that and be thoroughly entertained, knowing I would never. I may never even actually see one.
Yeah, probably never seen one. Yeah,
but sure, it was fun to go hang out with him around it and look at the pretty and be like, that is cool, because I think it is so cool, regardless of price, or if you think it's stupid or it's more money than you could ever spend. I think it is so cool that someone is going to the effort to bring back the Norton and to bring back the Manx. Yeah. Right? And if you're not familiar with the Norton Manx, I guarantee you I will be giving you a glorious little history lesson in the bike review as to why the Norton Manx is such an incredible and important motorcycle. To every motorcycle we ride today has lineage pointing back to the Manx.
Well, and the Norton brand has been around for, it goes back a long ways. It's very important. I don't want to try to give away any of the history stuff here. You do a great job with that type of content, so I want to save it for that. The part I want to point out is two things. One, I cannot recall if I've ever genuinely seen a Norton in person myself.
You probably have, because Norton Commandos were very...
Oh, yeah. Okay,
Norton Commandos are probably the Norton most people are familiar with. You can still find them used for good prices in good condition.
I have seen one of those. You're right.
They are reasonably reliable, even for like the the age, right? I think the production stopped. Most old school British motorcycle production stopped in the early 70s to the early 80s. Is basically when the British motorcycle empire really crumbled, and that's an interesting story in and of itself. But the Commandos are still around.
So this bike, let's just say it costs $60,000. I don't know what it costs, but let's just assume that. That is far beyond the reaches of most motorcyclists are going to pay for, right? For that type of experience. But so is a V4R. Honestly, so is a CBR 1000 Triple R.
Yeah, what is that one going
Almost
for?
30, 28?
Yeah, that was 30. Yeah.
That's absurd, right?
Yeah.
And so I guess my point with this is I still love those types of machines. I won't own those machines. I'm not going to spend $50,000 on a motorcycle. But I love that there are enough people who not only can afford those things, but will afford those things, that those things get to exist in general, right? Because you think about the V4R it's a very cool machine. I'm excited it is real and it exists and I may see one, but it only exists because someone can buy one. It's the same with high-end cars. It's the same thing with Lamborghinis. It's the same thing with Ferraris. I'm never going to go own a Ferrari, but I don't hate the fact that Ferrari exists to cater to that audience because that audience can buy one and now I get to see this beautiful thing potentially.
Let's look at Mercedes-Benz for an example. I'll never own a Mercedes-Benz, right? Like it's, was it Janis Joplin? Oh, Lord, won't you buy me, right? But Mercedes-Benz, because they were making these extravagant, unobtainable vehicles, that money and that support allowed them to innovate so much new technology into cars that are in cars that we all drive now today because of that extravagant thing. And if we want to use the boat metaphor, right? I don't really know anything about boats, but I will reveal one of my YouTube indulgences. I love YouTube channels where they find old derelict boats and restore them and bring them back to their glory. And I'm watching this dude on YouTube now who found Frank Sinatra's yacht and he's restoring it. It is cool.
Yeah.
Right? But somebody had to build that yacht the first time, right? Like there was this team of people who innovated and designed and manufactured and built it with like high-end materials and hand-cast brass door knobs and window knobs. And there was a craftsman who was paid to make a thing only a handful of people could make. That guy got a job to make the thing. Now, I'll never own it, right?
Sure.
But because that thing was special and, whatever it was, it still exists. And now someone else is making a living off of taking it and bringing it back.
Yep.
And we've seen that with rare cars, with rare motorcycles. There's all sorts of YouTube channels out there, people who are making a living off of bringing back special things from the past that were rare and unique. Like what was the very first Lamborghini? The one with the eyelashes, right? The Miura, right? Like how many of those were made, right? And when that came out, probably everybody did the same thing. Who is this company? What the hell? Why are they doing this, right? And now like Jerry Seinfeld owns one and made a YouTube video about his Lamborghini Miura with eyelashes and how much he loves driving that thing around, even though it breaks all the time. He doesn't care.
So as an engineer, I've never worked in automobiles or motorcycles as an engineer, but imagine the engineer who says who gets the job where it's like, hey, make us the best motorcycle. You're on the project that is going to make the next MotoGP bike. You're going to make the next World Superbike competitor. It's no holds barred. It's make it as good as it can be. Don't think about the price right now. Versus the engineer who gets the job, it's like, hey, make this door hinge cheaper.
Right.
So
what a great,
So I like now the engineer who makes the door hinge cheaper, he's not any worse or any better than the other guy.
He has the harder job, arguably.
Still has to solve a problem, and that's really what engineers want to do, is solve problems. But we all get to appreciate the fact that there was an engineer that got turned loose to go make a V4R, right? Or make a Norton or whatever it is. We all get to get some benefit out of that, right? So anyway, a long story to say, like, even if a Norton is never in your future, Norton Manx is never in your future, I think it's fascinating that they're willing to build it and there's an audience for it and that we all get to kind of appreciate and enjoy this thing that gets created from it.
I am so excited to tell the Norton story.
Yeah.
To me, this is such a cool story, where Norton came from, and what they're doing now, and that they're still around, I think that's a good story. That's good narrative, and that's us, man.
Yeah.
Like somebody out there is willing to throw this kind of cash to make something for us, even at like whatever level. I'm really excited about this whole thing.
Well, I'm looking forward to it.
I talked to somebody who does bike reviews, and they're like, no, a motorcycle is good or bad. It's a binary thing. It's good or it's bad. And I don't see it that way.
Boring.
Well, I don't see it that way at all, right? To me, it's, I think especially in this day and age, there's no bad motorcycle, like unless it's an absolute lemon or it's, it has like all sorts of like significant design flaws or whatever. But for the most part, when I watch like a car review or let's say boat review, because I don't know anything about boats, right? What I want to know is like, is this the boat that's going to give me the experience I want?
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm excited for it. Heads out this week. Anything else this week?
No, I think that was a pretty fun conversation. We went from fitness to boats. Talked about boats.
We were all over the map.
Talked about spleens coming out of orifices. Like we covered the gamut this week.
Does happen.
Hopefully we're in focus today. We won't know until tomorrow.
We did our best. We're on manual focus.
We did go to manual focus, and we tried so hard. I'm so sorry for all the misfocus things.
There was one comment in one of them that was kind of poking fun at us. One of the times when it was blurry, but then it was a little backhanded because it was like, "Don't worry, we're not tuning in because you're pretty."
Oh, that is so
like, okay. Well, fair enough.
Yeah, that is really excellent. Yeah, and we know we're not pretty. I mean, we try to use pretty lights and put like a pretty thing behind Brian.
Yeah.
Thanks for hanging out with us, man. We love having you guys around.
It's a ton of fun.
Oh man, we love doing this. We love that you guys tune in.
Yeah.
And don't ever hesitate to leave a comment. Tell us what you want us to talk about or what you want to learn more about.
Yeah.
We do have lots of things kind of in the wings. We have some special guests I'm so excited about.
Yep.
I think we have 2 or 3 special guests.
Yep.
That just trying to like arrange schedules and being sensitive to that. I want to talk to them. I know you want to talk to them. Well, you may not know you want to talk to them.
Yeah.
You do. Some really cool stuff coming. So thanks for hanging out with us, guys.
Cool. Have a good week, guys.